It was one of those rare moments that stopped everyone in their tracks. No flashy announcements, no paparazzi-filled scenes, just the quiet arrival of two blacked-out vehicles rolling through the gates of Clarence House. First, King Charles, and just moments later, Prince Harry. And that was it. No grand statements, no royal wave, no photographs to capture the significance. But beneath the silence, something monumental was unfolding. This wasn't just a casual visit or a brief catch-up between father and son. No, this was the first time they'd met in over a year and a half, and the weight of that gap was impossible to ignore. The last time they'd been in the same room was February 2024, shortly after Charles received his cancer diagnosis. Since then, no royal engagements, no holidays together, just a growing distance between them that seemed to stretch farther with every passing month. Now, suddenly, Harry was back in London. The whispers began long before he arrived, with everyone asking the same question: would he try to see his father? Would Charles even agree? And if they did meet, what would it mean? The answer came quickly. Yes, they met. But that single moment raised more questions than it answered. Was this the beginning of a royal reconciliation? Or was it simply another chapter in the ongoing drama that has defined this family's public life for the last 5 years? To understand the gravity of this meeting, you need to rewind 5 years. Back to 2020, when Harry and Meghan made the unprecedented decision to step down from their royal duties. It was a move that sent shockwaves through the monarchy, and from that moment, the cracks in the royal family's perfect image started to widen. Their departure wasn't just about leaving behind titles. It was about distancing themselves from everything the monarchy represented. Since then, the tension between Harry and the rest of the family has been anything but subtle. The Oprah interview, the explosive memoir Spare, the Netflix docuseries, each chapter of Harry's post-royal life seemed to fuel the fire. Public statements were made, allegations were thrown, and the media didn't help, amplifying every whisper and every headline. It wasn't just a cold shoulder anymore, it was a war of words, a battle played out in front of the world. Add to that the constant media friction, tabloid stories, TV interviews, and leaked royal family drama, and you have a recipe for a fractured relationship that felt irreparable. But through all the chaos, one thing remained consistent: the silence between Harry and his family. When Charles was diagnosed with cancer in early 2024, the absence of any royal engagement from Harry was deafening. No public support, no messages of solidarity, just more distance. Yet, despite everything, the question that lingered in the air was always the same: could this rift ever be repaired? And if so, what would it take? The answer might not be clear yet, but it began to take shape the moment Harry landed in London. Harry's return to London wasn't exactly under the radar, but it wasn't a grand spectacle either. Arriving on September 8th, his schedule was filled with charity events and the Well Child Awards. But as soon as he touched down, rumors swirled. Would he attempt to meet his father? Would Charles be open to it, or had too much time passed for any real conversation to take place? As it turns out, the answer was yes. The meeting was confirmed just hours after Harry arrived in London. The public was left to speculate about what this brief encounter might mean for the future of the royal family. The visit wasn't announced in advance. There were no press conferences, no media build-up, just Harry's car pulling up to the gates of Clarence House at 5:22 p.m., local time, with no fanfare, no flashing cameras. It was a quiet arrival, but one that immediately sent shockwaves through social media. The internet exploded with questions. Could this be the first step toward reconciliation? Was the family finally ready to put their differences aside? But if you expected a warm, emotional reunion, you were disappointed. This wasn't a tearful embrace or a long-awaited heart-to-heart. The meeting lasted only 30 minutes. A short, structured conversation with a very specific agenda. No grand statements, no royal appearances, just two men sitting down behind closed doors away from the public eye. It was a private moment in a very public drama. And while the exact content of the meeting remains a mystery, its timing couldn't have been more significant. The world watched as those few minutes unfolded, but the silence that followed may have spoken louder than anything said inside the room. What makes this meeting even more compelling is the absence of Prince William. He, the heir to the throne and one of the most central figures in the royal family, wasn't there. No show of support, no attempt at reconciliation, nothing. While Charles agreed to meet with Harry, William remained conspicuously absent, adding fuel to the fire of speculation. Could it be that the rift between Harry and William is deeper than we've realized? It's not hard to understand why William might have stayed away. The brothers haven't spoken in months, and sources suggest that the divide between them remains as wide as ever. For William, Harry's departure from royal duties in 2020 was more than just a personal betrayal. It was a rejection of the monarchy itself, an abandonment of everything William was groomed to protect. The interviews, the memoir, the endless media bombshells. It's no wonder William has made no effort to bridge the gap. But this absence also speaks volumes about the royal family's larger dynamic. The monarchy isn't just about bloodlines, it's about control, public image, and the preservation of tradition. For years, Harry has challenged that structure in ways that have left many insiders shaking their heads. So while Charles may be more willing to extend an olive branch, William likely sees this as a violation of the royal code, a code that's about duty, not personal drama. Charles's willingness to meet Harry, especially during his cancer treatment, speaks to the complexity of the situation. It suggests that, despite everything, he still believes there's a thread worth holding onto. A hope that maybe, just maybe, this meeting could pave the way for healing. But without William's blessing, it's hard to see how any lasting reconciliation could happen. In the quiet absence of his brother, the tension between family loyalty and the future of the monarchy becomes even more apparent. The moment those blacked-out vehicles rolled into Clarence House, every eye in the world was glued to the footage. No smiling photos, no royal wave, just a quiet, almost somber arrival. And yet, the media buzzed like never before. The cameras outside captured every detail, every glance, every pause as Harry and Charles made their way into the house. The images might have been silent, but the media couldn't help but turn them into headlines. It wasn't just about the meeting itself, it was about what wasn't said. The subtle body language, the quick glances, and even the lack of any real interaction with the press left the world reading between the lines. Was Charles showing any sign of warmth, or was it all business? Did Harry seem at ease, or was he holding back something deeper? The internet exploded with speculation. Every angle, every moment of the encounter was analyzed and dissected for meaning, turning a 30-minute conversation into hours of public scrutiny. And then there was the silence that followed. No statements from Clarence House, no royal spokesperson offering details about the content of the meeting. Nothing. In a world where every royal movement is carefully choreographed and crafted for public consumption, this silence was almost deafening. It was as if the family had agreed that the only thing worth sharing would be what wasn't being said. For some, this radio silence was a sign that the meeting didn't go well. For others, it was just the royal family's way of playing their cards close to the chest. Either way, it left the public with more questions than answers. Was this meeting a genuine attempt at mending a broken relationship, or just a calculated move for the cameras? The media's intense scrutiny of every gesture, every facial expression, ensured that this wasn't just a family meeting. It became another chapter in the ongoing royal drama, one where the true meaning remains obscured by speculation and silence. The biggest mystery surrounding this meeting wasn't what was said, but what was left unsaid. In a royal family where every word is weighed and every gesture is calculated, the absence of a formal statement or any media leaks after the meeting only added to the intrigue. Was the meeting really about reconciling, or was it simply a formality to show the world that at least an attempt was being made? Inside Clarence House, those 30 minutes may have been filled with tension, uncertainty, and perhaps even unspoken words. What could Harry and Charles have discussed? Did Harry bring up the past, his departure from royal duties, the Oprah interview, the Netflix series, or his memoir? Or did they stick to neutral topics, avoiding anything that might further strain their already fragile relationship? And what about Charles? The king, in the midst of his cancer treatment and with the weight of the monarchy on his shoulders, might have had a lot on his mind. But did he open up to Harry, or was this meeting just a brief check-in to gauge the possibility of future discussions? One thing's clear. This wasn't a tearful reunion or a heart-to-heart. It was likely a cautious, controlled conversation, with both parties probably choosing their words carefully. The real question now is whether anything meaningful was said at all. Was this meeting a genuine attempt at reconciliation, or just a carefully timed private chat that left both sides unsure about what comes next? No one knows for sure, but the silence that followed this meeting is perhaps the loudest statement of all. Without leaks or quotes from the royal family or Harry's camp, the public is left to wonder, did anything really change? Or was this just another chapter in the ongoing royal drama with no resolution in sight? So, what happens next? That's the real question lingering in the air after this brief, mysterious meeting. Was this 30-minute encounter a genuine step towards healing, or was it merely a polite gesture, a last-ditch attempt by Charles to extend an olive branch, knowing the clock is ticking? Harry's return to the UK seemed different this time. He wasn't accompanied by Meghan, no entourage in sight, and there were no bold statements or social media declarations. He arrived quietly, keeping his head down, suggesting that he wasn't here for the usual fanfare. But did his actions speak louder than his words? For Harry, the path forward is far from simple. This meeting could signal a desire to mend bridges, but does he truly want reconciliation, or is he simply looking for closure after years of tension and public battles? His memoir, his interviews, and his outspoken challenges to the royal family have left scars that may be impossible to heal, especially when you consider that Harry has not just distanced himself from the monarchy, he's actively exposed its inner workings to the world. Many royal watchers feel that no amount of private meetings can undo the damage done. As for Charles, his health and the pressures of ruling have forced him to reevaluate his legacy, not just in history, but within his own family. With his cancer diagnosis, Charles is faced with his own mortality, and it's clear that this meeting was not just about the future of the monarchy, it was personal. Was it an effort to make peace with the son who's been a thorn in his side for years? Or was it simply a final gesture, an attempt to say, "I tried," before he's no longer able to? But there's a critical element missing from this equation, William. The absence of the second in line to the throne suggests that, for him, the wounds run too deep for any kind of reconciliation, at least for now. William's stance seems clear. Harry's actions have broken more than just family bonds. They've jeopardized the future of the monarchy itself. And if Charles is trying to build a bridge, William seems determined to build a wall. What this meeting really represents is a test of whether the royal family is capable of putting aside personal grudges for the sake of the monarchy's survival. Can Harry truly reintegrate into a family that has all but disowned him, or has too much damage been done? And can Charles continue to juggle his duties as king while healing a fractured family? The answers aren't clear yet, and as time passes, the world will be watching to see if this moment was the beginning of something more, or just another chapter in a saga that may never have a neat ending. As the last blacked-out vehicle drove away from Clarence House, the world was left in suspense. No smiling photos, no public displays of affection, just the quiet hum of uncertainty that followed Harry's brief visit. What had actually been said behind those closed doors? Was this the beginning of a long-awaited reconciliation, or was it the final, polite nod before both sides retreated to their corners, leaving their differences unresolved? For now, the silence that followed the meeting speaks volumes. There's been no official statement, no leaks, and certainly no signs of the kind of public resolution we've come to expect from the royal family. The lack of any clear message leaves everything in limbo. But that's the reality of this family. Every move, every conversation is part of a larger game, one of power, legacy, and public perception. In the end, this meeting was never about a neat resolution. It wasn't about making amends or offering forgiveness. It was about testing the waters, seeing if there was even the slightest possibility of healing or if the rift was simply too deep to bridge. Harry, the controversial figure who challenged the monarchy, still holds a complicated position, too royal to be ignored, but too estranged to be fully embraced. Charles, for all his desire to reconcile, has his own battles to face, both personal and public. As for William, his absence during this pivotal moment speaks volumes about the state of the family. For him, the damage might be irreparable. He may see Harry's actions as unforgivable, and the cracks in their relationship might be beyond repair. So, what happens now? Only time will tell. Will Harry remain silent and allow this quiet meeting to speak for itself, or will he open up, further deepening the divide? Whatever happens next, this wasn't just about Harry and Charles. It was about the future of the monarchy and whether there's room left for forgiveness, growth, or change. For now, the world can only watch as this royal drama unfolds, one quiet moment at a time.